Action. Your slippers here. There. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot going on. The dogs is barking over there, and yeah. So first of all, let's see who's here. Good evening, Bobhead, Luke and Mom, Dutch line prepping. Yes. Okay. Good evening. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Was that there's like a protest going on against Putin's, and basically here in Germany, it's like a message that went around on social media saying that everybody should shut off their lights at one given time. I think it's 8 o'clock, but we're past that already, and the power didn't go out, so we're good. I was contemplating upon everybody shut the power off in all of Europe for 1 minute and then shut it back on. I'm gonna have a blackout because of the overload circuit, but it was just an idea. Yeah, just watch what the dogs are doing. The dogs are over here doing something. You gotta always watch it. Pooh doesn't get into something he's not supposed to have. He's got his toy. Yeah, yeah, that's what everybody was doing today. But I was like, okay, if you feel like it, because that doesn't, it's not going to do anything. But for 1 minute, turn the lights off. It's to protest. It's not going to affect anybody in any way. All right, so Stone Wolf Outdoors, welcome. So it's kind of hot in here now. I just had it's cold, and I turned up the fireplace, and now it's like squeaky dogs. No squeaky toys today. I took them away. I put them somewhere. I don't know where, but they don't have them. Pooh's looking for his toys now. He might be making squeaky noise. They're both looking at me like, what's he want? Hello, Matthias. Welcome. I'll be looking forward to your package you sent me. I was just talking about that with Vanessa. I was just saying, hey, I just got something really cool. Just bought something. It's going to go right here on the wall. Right here. And on this side, I'll probably hang something else really cool. I haven't decided yet. So we'll see. Skull. Oh, we've got 10 people watching already. Wow, that's pretty cool. So, okay. So we got here. Luke is you're eating breakfast and watching. Oh, that sounds like an awesome. We just had dinner. We had fish stäbchen and French fries, something like French fries. It was a potato waffles or something like that. I don't know the right name for it. Well, thank you. It's, like I said, I'm going to put it right here, and it's going to be a special thing for me. It's it's going to be something I look at and point out to everybody. And I hope a bunch of people look at it and go, what's that? That's pretty cool. And then I can point them to your channel. Gin. Okay. I try to stick with just the general, local brew here. I try to stay away from hard alcohol. I have had in my younger times quite my adventures with that, and I must say I don't miss it. So I just, when I know I'm not going anywhere, I throw the car keys over there. Everybody's here. The dogs have had off their flats. The dogs everybody's safe. I don't have to drive, so I have me a beer too. Yeah, you're listening. I like to listen to YouTube a lot as well when I don't have I can't always watch while I'm driving, especially. I'll turn on the channel that I'm listening to, and I'll turn it up on the radio, and then I'll just listen to what's going on. Almost like an audiobook. Prince, what are you doing? Pooh, lay down. Hey, wait. If I tell Prince to do something, then Gonzo will go up and enforce it. It's so funny. That's good. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. We've had our adventures when we were young, doing things we did and learned from them. I definitely did. That I learned I did not want to be an alcoholic. So, I didn't like feeling like I just hit a brick wall going 100 miles an hour every morning after party. So that's nuts. Yeah. Let's not go there. Vince! Platz. He's tearing up his pillow. Hey! Yeah. Cool. Yes, got some lumber now for the Viking camp. We'll hopefully be coming back together soon. We did so much work on it this last weekend. It was amazing. Just 1 second. Pooh! Lay down. Wow. They think I can't see them because I'm behind the TV screen here, behind the computer, and I look over there. It's just such the silly faces they make. Yeah, we've been, so this weekend will be a really cool couple of videos. The weather is supposed to be really nice, which is absolutely cool. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so the weather's supposed to be really nice. And I'm hoping to open the bees up for the first time this weekend, and put them in their new boxes. I have new beehives for them every year. Prince! He's tearing up his pillow. He thinks it's a game. Nice. And we did a lot of garden work. Hello, Erfolk. Welcome. You made it. I'm glad to see you. I don't think you made the last one. I think we got off track, I think, maybe with the time a little bit. But I'm glad you can make this one. Can't stay long. That's okay. I'm going to probably try to cut this live stream a little bit short today, too, as well, because it's been a long day. A lot of things. I was pretty worn out after having to come home. I had a lot of errands to run after work. I had to go pay a couple bills and do some shopping. Make some arrangements for tomorrow. And then come up here and prepare for the live stream. And then we eat dinner. And we had a couple minutes to just chill out. That was pretty cool. You have, okay. Well, just bear with me. So far, our connection here is doing pretty well, I guess, hopefully. Every time I say that, that's when it starts to fail. So let's not jinx ourselves here. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But I'm glad everybody's here. It's good to see you all. And I was just thinking of, what was I saying? Okay. Yeah, I did a lot of work last weekend up at the Viking camp. The gardening area is now really nice. It doesn't look like a moon landscape anymore. I've actually been able to plant some really nice plants there, some lavender and rosemary. And I tend to have a lot of everything that I like because it's especially good for the bees, first off. And for when winter comes around next time, I like to harvest a bunch of it and put it in little jars so that I can preserve some of it for over the dark times of the year so I can still cook with some of my herbs and make teas and stuff that have an adequate amount to suffice the winter supply. Good evening, Captain Fuzzy Outdoor Adventures. Good evening. And we've put what's called Hackschnitzel. It's like mulch, I guess. It's shredded, like all the rotten wood that they don't use at the sawmill. They shred it. And we put that on all the open area where we don't want wild growth. And so what that does is it keeps the plants that you planted there, it keeps them in control of their space. So nothing can just outgrow it. And eventually you'll get some growth that comes through there, but it won't overgrow with things that you don't want to constantly be removing out of your herbs and things like that. So that's a pretty cool. And it slowly decomposes and adds back to the soil as well, which is a really good positive attribute. And another good thing is it's a bit expensive where I got it, but it's I like to support the local community here. So I bought it at the sawmill here near my town. And he was able to actually cart it out there for me and dump it right where we were working, which is so cool. I'd pay a couple extra bucks for that and support. I'd rather pay that guy here at the sawmill than pay some company somewhere, who knows where that stuff comes from. It's probably not even from Germany. So that's oh, that's pretty cool. To be a chief of your own town, of your own kindred in your hometown. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so we've done a lot of gardening. I'm planning on buying a whole bunch of more useful plants for the bees, and especially for my herb garden. My herb garden is going to explode this summertime. I'm going to have so many awesome things growing that I can eat. We've planted salads and all kinds of herbs. We have seedlings growing. Our kitchen looks like a what do you call it? A greenhouse. We have these. What we use. I'm so excited. The plastic egg cartons, the ones that you get the hard-boiled eggs in. We have these like Easter eggs all year round. You can buy them here. They're in plastic egg cartons, and they have the little hard-boiled eggs in them. Yeah, we fill them with actually Vanessa's idea. We fill them with earth and use them as little tiny greenhouses, which is the coolest thing. It's very effective. We've put some of the seeds in there just 2 days ago, and they're already germinated. They've already sprouted little tiny green sprouts, which is amazing. Really cool trick. So we'll be doing lots of planting this coming couple weeks. And this summer, we get a couple nice days. They're supposed to all through this weekend. It's supposed to be pretty good, and most of the next week. So that's really, really looking forward to that. Being able to work outdoors up until later in the evening. It's light till about 6 now, so that's pretty good. 6:15 gives me a little bit of time after work to come up to the camp and do some stuff. It really helps out quite a bit. Yeah, bees are except little land spirits, huh? I have to figure out what that means, but bees are awesome. I like bees. It's unfortunately only 2 of my colonies survived. And the other day, I don't know if you guys saw my last video, the Viking feast. I had an excellent time hanging out at the Viking cabin and cooking myself some steaks filled with rosemary and herbs over an open fire in the Viking cabin in the roundhouse, which was really, really cool. Really chilled out, relaxed day. I really enjoyed that. That was a cool event, and I got to share that with you guys. And on that day was really special because the bees were out. They were doing their first flight. They come out and they push most of the dead bees out on their first flight, and they empty their bladders. They just poop all over the place, and they go in and they clean the hive out. And so I was happy to see both hives actually alive. That was pretty cool. I think there's a burglar in the house. I hear someone sneaking around over here. Yeah. So that's but I have to be very careful if I'm not paying attention to them. Even though they've been out and they're still alive, they may starve. They may still starve real quickly. So that takes just a day or 2 for a beehive to starve. So I have to do something. This weekend, I definitely have to, regardless of the weather, I have to do something. Either feed them in the boxes they're in, or put them in the new boxes and feed them, which would be awesome because that's what I would like to do. And then I can really start. That officially starts my bee season. Putting them in their new beehives, all cleaned up and nice, and I'll pack some. I have some extra food frames that I collected up that are still in a very good condition, that are filled with food, like bee food, which is basically pollen and honey and what they put in their hives to store for the winter. I saved most of those from the hives that didn't make it, and I made sure there wasn't any mold or any parasites in there. So that's going to be going in the beehives here for them to start the springtime. Before I start feeding them with sugar water and all that stuff, I want them to be off on their own start there. Yeah, if they're still in the snow, one easy way to tell what you need to do, make sure too, is if they're snowed in, go out and just make sure that the hole, the entrance is always open. You want to make sure that the hole is always open, because if that snows up, then they can't get out. So I always, if there's snow, I make sure I brush the snow off so that at least they can come out if they need to come and get water, or they get escape some. If they want to come out, they can come out. And in the wintertime, what we have to do here is we have to staple mesh wire up onto the entrance, or else the mice will get in there and rob the bee colony, totally destroy it. Or you can, what I do, I never do that because it's too much work. I make the entrance only big enough for my small finger. That's for one bee, basically. And so the mice can't get in there. And that also helps out for other bee colonies not being able to attack that bee colony, because they will rob the bee colony. They will rob each other for resources. A question here. What do you think of Thorsdag? Well, it's just basically, I think it's really cool because Thursday is named after the Germanic god of Thor, or in German, Donar, which is donnerstag, which we call it here in Germany. And yeah, so, and all the weekdays are named after the Germanic gods, which is pretty cool. So I think it's kind of a special thing to notice that. Most people don't know that. That's what's really cool. They go around through their life and they don't even know about the days of the week. And it's that it survived the century of cancel culture through the Christian Crusades and basically the end of the Viking Age, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I would say he's my favorite. Kind of right there. For being brave and the protector of Midgard, and for being able to throw lightning around, and the special fact that Mjolnir doesn't just destroy his enemies, it can also resurrect his dead creatures as goats, basically, or I think any creature basically he places the hammer upon. And hello, Kenny Parrott, welcome. I think that's cool. And I think Thor has a lot of personification of what you would see as a normal person that has some kind of power that's still vulnerable to trickery and misperception, but still tries to do good, but still gets tricked into doing things that he didn't perceive correctly. And still he's trying to be the hero, but he's constantly, there's still forces that are able to trick him and do him wrong. So, and that's kind of like, it really puts that into a more humanly perspective. So I think that's really cool. Odin, yes, Odin, although he's the more wiser and elder of the gods and the most, they say, the most powerful. I'm not sure. It's there's a lot of different versions of what Odin may or may not be. Odin is many things, as a matter of fact. But the reason I do not like Odin as much, I'm not saying I dislike Odin. Odin is to be taken with caution, very, very carefully, and judged with great carefulness because of who he is and what he has done. For someone to obtain knowledge, to be so greedy to know everything that will be able to pay any price to get it, that hangs itself from a tree, he'll lose his eye, and for the simple fact that he'll watch men on Midgard battle, and he'll take the better men to their death just so he can have them in his halls in Valhalla for Ragnarok. That's kind of a selfish idea. And that's where I kind of go, that's kind of to contemplate. And he's always weary. He's always searching for something, and he never finds it. And he's always worried. And that's why Hugin and Munin is thought and memory. He's always contemplating. He's always worried to lose one or the other. And so he's constantly searching for that, but he never finds it. And that's what's I don't understand your question there, Örif. What do you mean right on and on? If you could refer to what I was saying, maybe I can give you an answer. I can't quite. Yeah, I would say maybe that's a way to call it. But he's got a lot of. He's a very. Trying to find the right words. He's easy to anger. Let's put it that way. And I think that's one of our other human traits is he's got the temperamental mindset that later in thought and reflection, he probably thinks about, man, I probably should have done this or that. That was probably not a smart move. And I think that's where I don't remember maybe what I just said there, right on and on. So yeah, maybe I was trying to say something and I can't remember. Sorry. But yeah, so maybe that's another aspect of kind of humanity that Odin, that we see in that depiction. Yeah, well, it is to learn from, to understand the things that make what happens. So Odin is the All Father, and we don't question him. If you don't question, we're supposed to learn from that. We're supposed to understand and carve our path. Although our path supposedly has been carved from the beginning of our first heartbeat by the Norns that weave they weave the fate of all men. But I don't really believe that to an extent. I believe that I have some say in that game. I believe, small portion at least. Skull. Yes. No, I do not think so at all. I think that any the Azetreo community is, if really, there's so many ways that any community could become dangerous. But if you just take a simple look at what it is, I think if you just take it for the core idea of it, and it always just takes one person to take something out of proportion, and as far as it's kept in reasonable control, you can go off board with any kind of way of life or belief system. It's really easy to do that. It just takes a person who has that energy to take you that direction, and it's really easy to lead people that in masses into a direction like that. But I don't generally think it's dangerous. I think it's actually a positive thing, if especially for our day and age. It's kind of to revisit our roots and kind of rediscover maybe a new aspect of our spiritual, mental, and physical existence here. It's maybe something to learn about, understand. I got the hiccups. Yeah, but I haven't looked into it too completely, but I do know what it is, and yeah, I don't think it's dangerous. It depends really. Then and I know there are several. Oh, cool. That's excellent. Okay, I just got a good news email here. So I don't think generally Azetreo is harmful. Rather, I think it's anything in moderation to be is you can use it for positive or negative kind of activity. Or okay, what we got here? S. Dellinger, welcome. Now okay. Now I understand. There's right on and on. Welcome in the chat. I did not see you join earlier, and Urifolk I didn't see that was one of our members here in the chat. Okay, so now you had me confused there. Yeah, I think you're correct there. Right on and on. It's more of a metaphor. It's more of a. There are more messages than physical features of any of those stories that are supposed to teach us things. But then and again, we can never be sure that we actually even exist, that this is actually real right now, that this is actual base reality. We can't be sure of that. So there's no way of telling that a long time ago, before anybody wrote anything down ever, was able to write any history. Or even at a point, there were civilizations who wrote it down at the beginning and they just ceased to exist. So yeah. Yeah, we are here. We are in what seems to be our reality, so to speak. But that's still kind of a question, what reality is and what defines that, and how we understand it, how we accept it. That's the other thing, how we accept reality, because it can be many things. And okay. And there's the question of God, whether it be whichever one you choose to name or go or to follow, or to to make your own, but yes, originally someone, if this is a simulation, had to push the on button. Now, is that God, or was that just the Big Bang or the start? And there was actually, because it is a simulation, anything is possible within the simulation. There's the other thing. So things to think about. So it could actually, even though we're not real, everything is not real, we could still, all of those things could still be real in one way or another. So it's a two-way rabbit hole. And then from there it goes. Yeah, but that's Sturla. I know Sturla actually very well. I've followed his work. I followed Sturla, and I'm subscribed to his channel, and I watch all of his postings. And I don't have all the side of his story, but I definitely support him and what he's doing he's on his own now, and he's doing his own thing. And I kind of really think that he's suffered a lot from the experiences he's had with these negative cancel culture society, with these people who want to change history in a different light. I mean, it's to put it in their own personal perspective, to use it for their agenda, and to cancel out all the important details that actually define the Viking Age, which so happened just to be the geographic location, the genome of the people who lived there, which created a certain type of physical appearance in those sections of Scandinavia to be able to distinguish them amongst other Europeans or other members of, south of Europe or even the rest of the world. So I think he's completely correct. He's researching DNA, and you need to be, when you're doing a scientific DNA analysis, you need to be specifically straight up. You handle the facts. You don't put the pieces and puzzle them in where you think they might be useful to create a new agenda that may fit what the rest of the world is trying to do. It's science. You use information, you use the facts, you use those as stepping stones to gain more information, and then you go back and you reprove it, and you test it, and you test it, and you test it, and then you see if you get those results again and again, you have good information, and then off of that you keep gathering, you're doing more tests and finding new information and then adding to the picture, and that's how science. So I do like Sturla, and I watch him, I follow him, and I support him, and so I really do look forward to seeing his work. He did just now recently, I can't remember, it was just 2-3 weeks ago, I was following up on Sturla, and he had a job offer now. A professor is trying to get him on board, but there's still some complications with all the negative feedback that's been coming down from all sides. So we'll have to see. Yeah. So Sturla is a researcher that used to work for the archaeological department in Scandinavia, in Norway and Sweden, especially. And they basically fired him for speaking his mind on his research, for saying what he has discovered through his DNA analysis, basically. And so my audio is acting strange. I don't think so. Let's see. Maybe it says here that the connection may be unstable. So hang in there. Yes, thank you for the notice. I didn't notice that. That's okay, but it says here we're having a little bit. Sometimes it does that around this time. So just hang in. The last 3 times we had a really good live stream quality. So I'm hoping that the server updated something and it works. But it may be just those in and out moments. We may have those a couple times. Yeah. So Sturla, he got basically fired from his job for releasing scientific facts about the DNA genome of the Vikings, that they were, what kind of complexion and skin color and what kind of, visual appearance the Vikings had, basically. And the woke cancel culture of the modern world would rather not publish that because they don't like that. And so that's what that's about. And that's how he's a really famous researcher, and he's getting a lot of heat for going against the establishment, basically. And they're making it extremely difficult for him to try to find a new job in his profession by trying to slander his name. And yeah, so that's at least the perspective as the viewer I get from the viewer. Yeah, Sturla's not mainstream enough, I know. And so, but he's definitely has some really good content. And just type Sturla Viking research on YouTube, and he'll pop up. He's got his own channel. It's called, oh boy, I can't remember the name of it. Viking Stories, I think it's called. I think that's the name of his YouTube channel. Yeah. Okay, Orifolk, thank you very much for checking by, and stay safe, and see you soon. We're going to not be doing too much. Oh, what's this here? The internet is telling me to turn it off. I'm not going to do that. Strider 2 LSR, welcome. When did you join us here? I don't think I missed you, did I? Okay, Skull. Okay. So, you just got here. Good, because I try to say hello to everybody as they come in, but we were just talking about Sturla a little bit and some other things, and then we had a sound issue for just a couple of seconds. Viking Stories, yes, that's exactly what it was. I watch it from time to time, and he's got some good content in there if you want to check it out. Yeah, so what were we talking about? Yes, I got a bunch of that shredded restovers from the sawmill, and we spread that out over the whole gardening area where I don't want anything to grow. Planted a bunch of really good herbs and plants for the bees and for my kitchen. Skull. And been doing some work on the pathway up there so I can actually drive up in there again. Yeah, Vanessa, she worked all day on the camp today while I was at work. It looks awesome. She did a lot of garden work and cleaning up and setting things up for the weekend. And so hopefully she wants to make some historical sections in there, some historic looking crop beds, I guess not raised beds, but fence them in with some hazel and plant some crops in there so that first of all, it looks good for the channel, and second, we can have some more produce this fall. Hopefully, our harvest will be much greater than last year. Last year I had almost nothing. I had a couple of peppermint plants, and yeah, she's over there. She took Pooh over there in the bathroom with her, so he wouldn't be annoying us here with the squeaky toy. Yes, he's laying in front of the bathtub now. I gave Pooh a bath the other day. It was actually, I was very surprised to see how easy it was. It was the last time I gave him a bath, I had to catch him and then put him in the bathtub and then wrap him in a towel so he wouldn't get out, and then wash him real quick and then wrap him in a towel again and then pick him up. But now he was pretty. It's become such a good dog. I'm so happy and thankful. Yeah, for both my dogs. Yes. So what else? And I'm really trying to get some of I now have to collect the roofing material for the blacksmith shop. We've decided we may want to use some of that roofing sheet metal, the wavy kind, but it's got the squares instead of the round parts. And we're going to use that. And we're going to put that on the roof with a whole bunch of support underneath. And we're going to put dividers on the roof vertically. So when I put some soil up on the roof, it will actually hold the soil. And then I want to throw a bunch of really cool, I don't know, flowers for the bees. So I'll have a green roof, sort of, kind of. That's the idea. And then I'll put my tools back in it, set up my blacksmith shop, and then put walls up one at a time as I can afford to put the lumber, acquire it, or buy it from the sawmill. So that's going to be the plan. Corrugated, okay. Yes, dogs are true angels on earth in their own way. Dogs. Animals in general are just a blast. Now, if I had some more space, we were looking at these 2 donkeys. They were free, but you had to take both of them, and they wouldn't give them to you unless they wanted to see their new home first, and basically sign a contract saying that if they can't stay, they come back. So we're looking at the donkeys, and we don't have enough space, but they were so awesome. Yeah, they do almost like dogs, I would say. And then I'd like to get chickens and rabbits, but I don't think this is the year to get into that. I'm not sure I'm ready for that this year. Oh, you have a hobbit house. Yes, I was looking at one. They have these mobile homes, basically these little containers that you can order. There's in my town, next town, a couple of towns down. These guys, they sell these winter gardens and these containers and stuff. And they have these really cool like hobbit house like looking containers. And I almost stopped twice now to look at one, because I'm sure they'll have something in my taste, and I'll have to go and ask them how much it is. And I'm afraid I'll find something I want, and I'll have to go try to buy it. And I'm not out to spend $10,000 on something like that right now. Yes. Yeah, they make a lot of noise too. And you have to have at least 2. 2 is, I think, okay. Yeah, if you get too many more, you're running into costs of feeding them, and they do have to have their hooves taken care of, just like horses. Skull. So that's the thing we're looking at. If we can get enough land, basically go self-sustainable, at least 50%. That's the first goal. Because off-grid completely, that's kind of I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's extremely difficult, especially in Germany. They want to be green and go green and save energy and this and that, but the second you want to go and build a container colony with all solar and wind power off the grid, with a well and a sewage tank and all that stuff, and use environmental this and raise your own animals, that's when they go, but then you're not paying any money to the state for your electricity and your tax, and we can't tax you on any of that. You can't have that. So that's where that's just a big joke. Big joke. They build these all around the Viking camp, up at the high points up on the mountains. They've built windmills. And so I sit there and it's quiet, and I'll hear whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I hear these windmills going, and I think, oh man. And so it's bad enough I already have electric lines running through my parking lot, but that's not as bad as windmills that you have to look at. You can, when I'm filming, I'm constantly, oh, look, nature, and then I look through the trees, and there's the windmill going whoosh. It's like, not very cool, and I can't escape that. I'd have to drive 100 kilometers, and it would get nothing but worse. So. Killing birds, yes, it's probably one of the things they do. They catch fire at least once a year here too, as well, and stink. It's very toxic fumes, by the way, and it's a super hazard for those to be burning, because you have a 10,000 kilogram electric motor, and with the rotors on fire about a kilometer up in the air. So pieces are going to be coming down. Yeah, the green idea, that's I believe that is there's a somewhere along the line someone's going to use it to restrain someone's freedom and make a lot of money. That is the only reasonable explanation for what I think is going to be coming. If they really wanted to conserve and protect the environment as much as they said, they would have invested in replanting several of the rainforests and forests in general, with mixed trees, not just pine trees that grow straight up in the air after 80 years, or they just get blown over, and fruit trees in the wild for the animals. And it's really, really difficult. There's a lot of things you can do for nature. Yeah, especially the oceans, and plastics and stuff. There's a lot we can do. There's a lot we should do. It's just a lot that the politics behind it won't allow us to. So that's one of those things. But we could talk about that forever, and and really just have a discussion for a long time, and it won't change the fact that the capitalist governments of this world use the green idea as a marketing tool, nothing more. Wolves. Yes. Could you mention that? Well, okay. With wolves, you just have to, like anything, anytime, anywhere. When something comes up into something unknown or something new pops up, people are afraid of it. That's if aliens were coming from the sky right now, I'm pretty sure we try to shoot them down before we let them land and ask them, "Hey, where'd you come from? What's up?" So it's with the wolves, it's kind of a catch-22 here in Germany as well. The big story about the wolves is the lobby of the hunters here. Wolves have been eradicated from the European continent almost completely since the last 200-300 years now. And now they're slowly starting to come back because of environmental protection areas and certain measures that allowed them to travel all the way back from, they came back down from the north and from the east of Europe. And from the south up from Bavaria as well. And we have wolves to a very, very small extent here as well in at the Donar's bag, actually, which is really cool. It's Thors mountain. The area, it's about 45 minutes to hour drive from here. There's wild living wolves in small numbers. And the problem is that the hunters, they fear that the wolves will start to take the animals away that they, I guess, somehow feel that they have a right to take, which is not really correct. But the other problem is if wolves are going to start to repopulate the forest, that people with their dogs, that's the second thing to think about. Now, that's where you will have to be careful, because this is a true kind of a danger. I wouldn't say it's a threat, it's a danger. No. People with dogs would put themselves in danger walking through the forest that could be that there could be wolves nearby, because no matter what dog you have, a real pack of wolves will make short business of you and your dog. And so that's one of the things. And then they were saying they were afraid of children, the wolf seeking the presence of humans, and that becoming a problem, just like the fox that once, up until about 20 years ago, you would never see a fox in the city. And now they come up to the backyard and they just sit there, and people feed them all the time. And so it's going to become like the wild boar. Exactly the same thing is happening in Berlin right now with the wild boar. They have a big problem with wild boar in the middle of the city. being the fact that Berlin has a big a big natural park in the middle of its city, which also doesn't help much to combat that problem. But yeah, the wild boar go and they hang out in the park for a little bit because that's their natural habitat, and then they've gotten so used to humans, they just doesn't bother them to come right into the city. I mean, I've seen videos of people opening elevators, and there's a family of wild boar in there, and people running away. It's so funny. And now they have a special trained group of hunters now that can actually go in the city and if it becomes a problem, and actually take the boars there and take a couple for. They were first at all. They were trying to catch them, which is with traps and stuff. That was becoming a problem. But now they have these hunters that go there and they shoot them to keep the population inside the city under control. Yeah, boars. If you look on the YouTube, you'll actually see a whole bunch of videos. It's all over YouTube. Wild boars in Berlin, or Wildschweine in Berlin, or Berlin. It's yeah. If you type this in, I'll type it in the chat here. Yes, type that in the YouTube. You'll get all kinds of cool videos. Hello, Moncoco64, welcome. And the fox is no different. The fox is the same thing. They'll be, kids will want to pet the fox if they see it, and then that's the first time. It'll be all good until the first child gets bitten or injured, and then it'll be kill all the foxes. It'll be that again. And so the same thing with the wolves. The first time farmers start getting their, I don't know why that didn't go through. The first time the farmer that gets angry goes to the news, and then it'll just be another witch hunt. It'll just be lighting a fire again, and then the wolves will be quickly disappeared again. That's most likely what's going to happen. Yes, but that's it for one thing, that the wild boar in Berlin are funny. That's to see. Okay. Yeah, what else we have going on? So, got the bees, got that. Hoping to put the shop up soon. I'll be doing some dumpster diving tomorrow after work at the trailer. My buddy who runs a construction company, they're always tearing down old houses, and oh boy, is that a free pile of resources for me. I get all these really cool sandstones. I get all the sandstones basically I can carry for free, and all the old timbers from the houses. I try to salvage some of that as much as I can. And sometimes you find where they just take the house completely filled up with whatever's in it and they tear it down, which is a shame. I usually find a whole bunch of old good steel, some real nice old wooden tools, or you don't know anything it's possible to find. And so we're looking for some, can't remember, it was a piece of marble, I guess, for engraving leather, something to put under the leather to use the chisels. I'm not sure, but Vanessa wants one of those, and we were gonna go buy a new one. And I was like, why buy that? We can go find that at the recycle place there with my buddy. He's got different piles of different kinds of debris that he separates, and so we always go up there, and it's where I get most of my gravel too when I do my camp. He brings it straight up there and dumps it out for me. Yeah, and so we'll see what we find tomorrow. I need some more materials. I still need to get some metal for the roofing. I'm hoping to get it locally free somewhere. Someone maybe at the classifieds, trying to source this project as cheaply as possible. I'd like to get started building this here soon. I'd like to have it together by the end of April. I think that's a realistic goal. My blacksmith shop, at least the roof up. That's important. And then I can put the tools back inside. Yeah, that's a little bit about that. Other than that, we have not much going on since last couple weeks. It's if the weather's going to be nice, I'll be doing some filming this weekend. Be doing lots of work at the camp, trying to start planting all the plants. I have a big box of seeds I still need to do something with. Can't see. Big box of seeds I ordered. I need to sort out what goes where and start sowing those seeds so that I got a good head start. I was waiting for the last couple of days, even having some temperatures again snuck up on us. -4 we had this. I went on my way to work this morning. We had -4 degrees Celsius, which was a surprise because I wasn't expecting any more to be surprising me, but it's still cold. It's farmland. The property I have, it's land. So it's what I use it for, basically. So I have to use fair judgment what I do as far as structures and stuff. I have guidelines that I have to go by, kind of, and yeah, that's why you want so much money for it. But I will get it eventually, I hope. That's my hopes. We'll see. Yeah, same probably in Holland. There's certain things I can do, and within that imaginative idea, I should be okay. Oh yeah, definitely. Never throw anything away that's like halfway salvageable. Yeah, the first thing you want to do is look if that barn has maybe an. That's probably your best start, and then you'll have a neat new hobby. Yes, especially old tools. If you can restore them, like if you have the cheapest way to de-rust something that's really old is if you have go to the supermarket and buy the biggest jar of vinegar that you can find, or if they have vinegar distilled, what do they call it? Vinegar essence, I think they call it in German. Essig essence. It's vinegar with like double the acidity. It's basically concentrated vinegar. If you can find that, that's the best stuff. You get about 10 liters of that stuff, and you put all your rusty tools in there for about a day. Don't leave them in there for longer than a day. And you take them out and you scrub them under cold water real quick with a brush, loosen up all the rust again. And if they're still rusty, throw them back in there for a day. If you leave them in there for like 2 or 3 or 4 days, you'll find that the liquid will turn brown, pasty, and really stink, like really start to stink, and that some of your tools have started to really disintegrate. So it's that bad, but it works really well. Vinegar or pure distilled, it's got an acidity, I think it's 10 or 15%. That stuff is really good for really old tools, rusty tools. Clean them right up. Old saw blades and knives and stuff that you don't want to get sand in because of all the dust. It's usually the first step I do. Or you could use an electrolysis tank, which is an alternative to that, but that's a bit tricky sometimes. It really eats up the metal. And when you do your final rinse, you may want to have some baking soda and water. You just do a dip, basically, to get the acid to neutralize it. Wash it off in cold water. Give it a real good wire brush scrub. And then you put some oil or some paint. You paint it or oil it up real good. And your tool will be de-rusted. I use that a lot on my Coca-Cola works, but I must say Coca-Cola is a slow process. That's takes a lot longer because of the phosphoric acid. That's called Coca-Cola. Yeah, phosphoric acid is in this. So I shouldn't drink Coca-Cola in the first place. But it's nice when it's cold. On some days, I drink a little bit of that once in a while, with ice cubes and a lemon. The phosphoric acid, yes, it really it eats up in the Coca-Cola. Eats up the phosphoric acid in the Coca-Cola. It eats up some of the rust as well. It takes a little bit longer than with the vinegar. Yes, whichever. You can always give it a try, of course. I know, try it out for yourself to see which one's best. And yeah, but with the Coca-Cola, I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was. Rusty tools. Yeah, it's something about. Here we go. Coca-Cola reminded me. If your car battery on your car ever builds up corrosion, Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper or something like that, one of those beverages in that area are the best. I put your silver in Coca-Cola. That's funny. Coca-Cola's you pour on the battery terminals. You ever see those battery terminals corrode? They got these big white corroded clumps. That's the battery acid. Had a good time in that wash machine. And so you want to be careful. So Coca-Cola will actually be like a makeshift quick fix. If your car battery terminals are really corroded, you can use it to eat the acid off of the battery terminals and then give it a wire brush real clean without having to airborne get all that acid in the air when you're using a brush to clean it. Really, never used it on silver or gold before. Interesting idea to try that. I have a lot of old silver. I should probably give that a try. Every time I go to the metal place, the scrapyard, I'm always looking on the ground because 90% of the time when people throw out their old silverware, well, their old silverware as in forks and knives out of what they've had laying around, there's always one or two silver spoons in there or forks, and I always dig them out. And I find a bunch. Quite often I find one or two. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Coca-Cola it does have acidic properties. It's pretty so you gotta watch out for. Depending on what kind of paint you have on your car, it could really get to it real quick. Yeah. Oh wow, that's easy. If I would have known that, last year I was spending a lot of money bulking up on my silver hoard. My plunder. I buy a lot of the old German 5 mark pieces. Being here in Germany, they're easy to get. And a lot of times people don't know what they have, so they sell you at really cheap rates all their old coins. And some of them are black. I mean, they're so nasty. And I spent, I don't know how many days scrubbing 5 mark pieces in my sink with baking soda and rubber gloves and a Brillo pad that's the real soft ones that don't leave scratch marks on there. Yeah, so okay, Bobhead. I'm probably going to book here in a short minute here myself because I'd like to also call it a day here soon. Thank you for stopping in, Bob. You're one of the first to always pop in on my videos, by the way. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe and see you soon. Yeah, you have a chest of silver too. Yeah, I'm collecting up all those old spoons and old forks from when I find at the junk. And I'm going to build myself a really nice Viking treasure chest, a little bit similar to the one that I built for Bjorn. And I don't have one, so I have to make myself one. Oh, no stress. You didn't miss too much there, Moncoco64. We're just chit-chatting about things. Wow, that is a lucky find right there. A suitcase full of silver. That's very good. Yeah, I have done quite a few. I've done probably in the last couple of years. I've done 2 or 3 complete house clearances, and I kind of lost taste in them because you start finding the nice things. Usually, when the owner or the person with the like say has the oversee of what you're doing is standing somewhere near you, and you find it and go, "Holy cow, this is cool!" And then they come walking over. Okay, thank you. That's mine. And then that's basically, yeah, that's how that's been the last couple of years for me. So I stopped doing that. That was no fun. I'd rather just go to the junk and just pick what's nice, and then occasionally scan the classifieds, see if I can get a good deal on some old silver coins. And if I can have some cash left over, I'll buy what's the cheapest on the market at the moment in actual bullion silvers, rounds or bars. Yeah, it was a nice chest. I almost didn't want to, nice. I'd rather give someone something I have trouble parting with because it's um, such a nice chest that I didn't want to get rid of it. That then I knew that someone else would also appreciate it. So yeah, I'll make me another. If I want something, I'll just make me another one. Yeah, and if it was like some people's, it's kind of a shame to see what people throw out if it's their grandparents' things. It's kind of heartbreaking sometimes. Even though it's probably from a really rough time in their life or in history, particularly here, it's still your grandparents. It's still their history. It was still their time that they were alive. It's their memories and their experiences and what they've left you. And a lot of those people just, here's a picture album with my grandparents here. I don't want it. It's got some pictures of tanks and soldiers from World War II. I say, you don't want it? Are you serious? That's your grandfather. Yeah. I was like, it was, people don't understand that. Yeah. All we have left, that's our only time stamp. It's our only time capsule there's left is everybody's individual little story. That's all going away piece by piece. And it's kind of a shame. well, well, your the paintings thing, yeah. I don't know. If you're happy with the ones you have, if not, then you just need to find new inspiration to paint some nicer ones again. Hello, Nick. Welcome. Hello, Wyo Dino. Yes, roots are important, and especially with, we're just talking about Sterla, with all this cancel culture and this woke agenda, all that stuff. If especially being here in Germany, it's very difficult to say something about your grandparents being, growing up in that very difficult time. It's very hard to talk about that in any way. So it's best you just don't. And so that's kind of a thing. Maybe I studied history extremely deeply, and I'm an avid World War II interested in that area for a while there, for quite some years. Had years and years of research in archives and the things you see and learn that you would have never thought you find when you start digging in official documents that have never been published to the public but are available to the public if you go the proper routes. So you find some interesting things. I've been also to find some really cool finds at flea markets, people's stories. I have one of my prized components of my World War II collection is a journal. I absolutely adore journals. a journal of a World War II soldier who tried to get out of service any way he could, but then he was drafted. So he said, okay, well, let's make the best of this. I speak 2 or 3 languages, and it was the time that Germany was occupying France. So he became a translator. And that perspective of that person's life was so special because it's from a perspective you couldn't get anywhere else. And in the end, the ending of that book is where it really, and he has in the it's falling apart. That's how fragile this diary is. And the paperback cover of it is, I open it very carefully, and each page, I make sure it stays in its location. And on some pages he has like a little something from where he was, like a piece of the flower, or a piece of the grass, or a piece of a ribbon from the girl that he met, taped to the page, that he just wrote a little paragraph about. And in the end, he gets captured, and he gets really ill, but his comrades manage to rescue him later, and then they find his journal, but then he's already died of cancer. And so they finish his journal for him. And that's just that's a moment right there, when you finish reading that journal. So that's really things like that. Those are the things that are prized, that are special in my collection, because that's a point of history you will not be able to find and read or hear about. It's just right there, but somebody threw it out. It must have been somebody's grandfather, someone's brother, someone's, they just threw it out. So it's a great story. I don't know, Nick, what you're asking there. But you're not late. No, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay up. I'm really tired. Skull. Yeah, so we got here. I'm just making sure I don't miss anybody. Hello from Ireland. Yes, it's some common sense. Just keep your feet on the ground. History is history. That's where it should stay. But the main thing people don't realize is that no matter what kind of history your country, your culture has experienced, it's history. That's where it should stay there. It should be an example of what you can do again. It should be something that stays where it's at. It's bygones. Look at it, learn from it, don't forget it, and then and go on, look forward, and improve, do something different. Learn from it, but it's also your history, your culture, and there shouldn't be all the that's hey itself. It's a very, very iffy topic, but let's see what we got here. Okay, Pagan Workshop. Matthias, thanks for tuning in. Hope you had a good work. Matthias, I'll see you then, and I guess soon. Wow. Yeah, Lukman, that's pretty cool. As if you have no use for that, I mean, personally, there's always people who collect that kind of stuff. But what I really makes me a little bit angry is that people who obtain those things and want to make money off of them will often strip all the pictures out, and then they'll sell the empty photo album, because often the military issued certain photo albums for their units with their little embroiderment on them, and you could put your personal pictures in them. And then someone put their personal life story into this binder. And now at some point, the only thing that is left of that person is this bit of his life story. And someone takes all the pictures out and sells each picture on eBay because it has a picture of a airplane or a tank in the background or whatever, or a soldier. And so that's really annoying. Somebody just gets my, yeah. But that's a common thing. And that's someone was saying about metal detectors. Who was that? Let's see up here. Dutch line prepping. Yeah, I am an avid. I have all the professional gear. I have probably 5 metal detectors, and they're all not cheap. They do different things. I have one especially for fine, maniculous, small items that are not too deep on the surface when the ground has been turned, which I also use for prospecting gold in the summertime in the rivers, and iron ore. When I'm looking for iron ore, which is really cool, which brings me to another cool topic. Is at the Viking camp, when I was doing some digging here last couple years ago, I discovered that I have iron ore right there at the Viking camp in the ground. Very rich area as well. So I've been collecting up all the sandstones, and the first trait that I can tell that the sandstones are have iron content, first of all, is the metal detector. And just beep beep, it goes off really, really nicely over those type of sandstones, and they have a certain color. They have a blackish shimmer to them. So like some of the particles in the sandstone have like black grains. And then if you just break them open, they're extremely heavy, first of all, versus the regular sandstones. And inside you'll see a black line. I may make a video on that actually, because we're planning to save those sandstones for the summer to do something really cool. We're going to make our own bloom steel. But we still need a whole bunch of that stuff. And then we need to grind it down. And make it into sand. So if it's in sand, there's a real cool trick to get it out of the ground. Is you go get one of those really powerful industrial magnets, or you go to an old car speaker, one of those big old sound system speakers is probably no good anymore. Find one at a junkyard. Separate the magnet, and then you put it in a plastic bag, and you just run it over the sand. It will attract up all the iron filings or the magnetic filings. It could also be magnetite or hematite. And then you could collect up an enormous amount of that quite quickly out of the sand. And then to get the magnet, to clean the magnet, all you got to just hold it over the bucket, pull the plastic bag off, and all of the sand falls down because you've now separated the magnetic field with the plastic bag. If you were to use the magnet, you would have all that sand stuck to your magnet. So it's a quick trick. And if you have when you have a 10-liter bucket of that sand, you probably have enough to do a smelt, which is really cool. And I have to grind my my ore down to sand first before I can even do that. And then I have to smelt it. But it's going to happen. We're going to do that this summer. I'm so excited. I'm planning on it, at least. That's one of my big projects. To do that, I need the shop first, though. I have to have that all set up first. But I can still easily collect the materials as I'm digging holes in the garden. And speaking of rocks, I was running out of jasper here for my flint steel kits. And I know that this area here is rich in that mineral. It's also a very commonly found mineral throughout Europe and Scandinavia. And it's more common than flint, if you believe it or not, because flint was a hard commodity to get. And I have it at the Viking camp. We were digging holes the other day, and I actually found some. And so we were doing the gardening work yesterday. And so it was a challenge to see who could find the most jasper. Now I have 4 or 5 of these baseball size big pieces we've been able to find just yesterday. And one piece that I was able to find at my buddy's construction site in the debris because he does a lot of digging too. So I look at the red sand, and a lot of times I'll find some jasper in there as well. So that's pretty cool. I used to, when I was a kid, used to do a lot of digging in my parents' backyards. We used to do some working for digging holes for making the pond. I used to find a lot of that kind of stuff, calcite, jasper, and all kinds of cool stuff. I was always looking for fossils. I was hoping I was to find a T-Rex in the backyard someday, but that's never happened. All right, let's go. Okay, so going on a little bit over an hour now. I'm getting pretty tired. I'd like to put some fire on the fireplace and probably go to bed. So now you guys had some of what a teaser to what's going on at the Viking camp, kind of some of the projects that I've been planning. And probably going to call it quits here. See what we can come up. What kind of cool videos I will be doing this weekend. I'm not sure yet. It's always kind of a mystery until I get that magical moment. Okay. Good. I'm going to probably end the stream here now. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for watching all my videos so far. Been gaining a lot of watch time. And probably after this live stream, I'll have the halfway mark to the monetization. It'll be probably somewhere around 2,000 subscribers by the end of this weekend, which would be really cool. Inspiration, that's right. So, stay safe and see you soon.